what happened was that people would come from Belgium and France and England and Holland, and they would enter Germany, and they would buy real estate and factories and businesses because they all had hard currencies that were backed by gold that were worth a lot and kept their value. And so what happened was that people came in and they bought, in some cities, they bought about 80% of all the real estate in the whole city. Now, getting back to your question about the acceptance for mortgages, it would be some sort of an American dollar that would be acceptable. Maybe in extraordinary times they might accept gold. But what I'm getting at here is that in the people who have gold, if you have a collapse, gold retains its value and sometimes goes up in value. In that environment, if all the houses and buildings were selling, say, all equally at $100,000, and they all dropped to $20,000, and the value of your gold didn't drop, it stayed the same, you would be able to get currency to, or use gold, to buy those properties in the future. So, to answer your question again, they'll probably accept dollars, but they may be devalued or different. And if you want to anticipate so that you can buy more real estate in the future, 5 or 10 years down the line, you want to have gold because it'll hold its value, and that will allow you to probably very cheaply pay off all the mortgages, and maybe you'll be buying some city blocks in Los Angeles or Chicago.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Molly.
Have a good night.
All right. You too. Bye-bye. All right. Let's go to David. David, you're on the air with Ed and Bob. Where are you calling from, and what's your question, Mr. Bob?
Okay. I'm calling from Ohio, Ed. Bob, I have a question on 401k and traditional IRA. The 401k precious metals, gold, which is put into a storage facility, and it's the American Eagle Proof, which they claim is excluded from the 1933 Confiscation Act. I was wondering if you consider that to be safe during a time of crisis because it's in a storage facility and not physically with you.
Well, I don't think that being in a storage facility makes it any safer. And I'm a great advocate for holding your coins, but you have them in retirement accounts.
Correct, and I don't have the cash.
Must be kept in a place like Gold Star or in a brokerage house that sells gold and silver coins.
Correct.
There are a couple of them. What's that?
Yes, it would be with Gold Star.
Yeah.
And again, not having the cash, but I have funds for retirement, so I've taken my 401k and then put it into Gold Star. Is something like that safe? And it's American Proof Gold Eagle.
Okay, well, let me put it this way. It's as safe as your government will allow it to be. Now, what do I mean by that? There have been hearings in the House with regard to the future of retirement in Social Security. And it has been proposed, although it has not been codified into a bill to be presented, there has been hearings about amalgamating all of the retirement plans and lumping them into Social Security, and you're getting some kind of a credit for it. Well, quite frankly, that stinks. And if they try to do that, my subscribers will be out of everything, even if it means leaving their job. Because a lot of these retirement plans, you can't access them unless you quit. And people in pension plans and 401ks and IRAs, many of them have experienced 40 and 50% losses in the last 18, 20 months. If the market continues like I think it will down to 4,000 on the Dow, these pensions and others will have lost 65 or 70, 75% of their investments. And if you couple that with the fact there is a possibility that government may try to essentially confiscate your retirement plan, it's something to think about. Now, I told my subscribers that the minute I see a bill like that come out of committee, I'm going to tell everybody to dump them. Pay the taxes. If you're under 59 and a half, pay the penalty and get your money. Get your gold. Get your silver, whatever. Now, that's lurking in the back of my mind, and I don't know what government's going to do. They might do nothing. But, you know, I don't trust government anywhere. And so it's something to think about. But you're all right under current circumstances with Gold Star, and that's fine.
How about the IRA? Okay, that 401 came out of Fidelity, right? Out of the stock market, and I put it into precious metals with Gold Star. How about the IRAs that I have in the bank? Are those safe, or is that something that I may want to put into that precious metal traditional IRA also?
I would switch them because of the loss in buying power for your dollar and the hassle you might have to go through to get your money if the bank goes under.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
The main thing is the falling dollar. This is what's going to be the problem. And I don't care what the dollar does against other currencies. I'm only interested in what it does against gold.
Okay. Okay, so your suggestion is also the IRAs would be a good bet to go to Gold Star or something like that also.
That's right.
Okay.
And if you have a mind to, you might consider gold and silver stocks. They're more speculative, but if you're right, you'll make a lot of money.
Yeah, and those are traded on the stock market, right? On the Dow?
Right. We give advice on all that stuff in the International Forecaster. We tell you what to buy, when to buy, when to sell, etc.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, we thank you for that call there, my friend. All right, let's go to Charles in New Hampshire. Charles, you're on the air with Ed and Bob. What's your question for Bob?
Yeah, hi, Bob, and hi, Ed. Yeah, Bob, I've heard you many times on other
radio.
Glad you're here. And
all right, hang on, I'll bring you up in a minute.
How are we doing?
Go ahead. I forgot to turn my cotton picking mic off and answering the caller.
No problem. Yeah, and you just mentioned, of course, the government and we're talking about some legislation. Bob, I noticed on your website, you had a link to the Constitution Party, so that was kind of nice. We did have an alternative person to vote for this last time, the name of Chuck Baldwin. But Bob, can you share your thoughts with, I'm sure someone that you know, Congressman Ron Paul, because he seems like during the campaigning for presidency, he seemed like the only one talking sense, and he seems to be getting a lot of attention in major media about the economics, and he has some, I guess, a resolution going through the Congress as far as the transparency resolution to audit the Federal Reserve. Can you share your thoughts about Ron Paul as a politician, and how can we get more people like this possible into the political fray?
Well, first of all, as we just seen in the last election, 94% of the incumbents were reelected, and in the House, about 32 of them didn't even rerun. So the public is not willing to put constitutionalists in office. The public is very naive, and they just really don't understand that both parties are owned by the same group of people. And so the chances of getting others like him elected, from what I have observed over the last 50 years, is not very good. And it gets worse. because the propaganda in the media is more effective, and the control of the candidates that are allowed to win their primaries is even stronger than it was before. It's been proven in politics that money buys everything, and that means election. And we saw that in New Jersey in spades with Corzine, who spent millions and millions of dollars to get elected, and it was successful because of the just avalanche of advertising, promotion, and propaganda. Ron Paul is a fine person. He's the only one in Congress that really understands the Fed and